Hi, I'm Ricky Fort and welcome to the Real Estate 101 podcast. Join me as I lift the lid on the real estate industry and share some great stories from behind the scenes. Like and subscribe and enjoy this episode. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Real Estate 101. I'm your host, Ricky Fort from Geelong Real Estate Co. It's an absolute pleasure today. We've got the number one real estate agent in the world. Actually, we've got a two-part guest today. So Rich Carwin and obviously his pseudonym, Dick Slider. So, mate, Rich, thanks so much. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ricky. Thanks for having me, buddy.
You're an absolute legend. So, mate, I'll get into it. I'm keen to know a little bit about you as a person before we jump into the Dick Slider stuff. But I guess tell us a little bit about your background. Obviously, I can see that, you've been a real estate agent for over 10 years, working with Ray White, I think it was initially, and then transitioned into being a buyer's agent in 2019. And by the looks of it, you started kind of Dick Slider in 2017 and stuff. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about, your real estate journey from just a selling perspective, because I think that answers a few questions as to why with the Dick Slider stuff. But yeah, tell us a bit about your sales stuff from back in the day.
Look, I started in 2010 as an assistant at Ray White Double Bay. I knew Michael Finger very well. I actually met Michael Finger at the Golden Door Health Retreat. I'm into health and well-being and fitness. We hit it off. He said you should come check out Sydney. A lot of trainers and stuff happening. So I came down, took him up on the invitation. Actually stayed with them for like 6 months in the house.
Wow.
And yeah, in Dover Heights, saw the big house and the nice cars. And I thought, fuck, this real estate thing looks all right.
What were you doing before that?
I was a trainer. So I was working, as a personal trainer.
Yep.
And then, so I ended up moving into the selling in 2010, did close to 10 years at Ray White Double Bay.
Yep.
And then Dick Slider was starting to sort of poke his head up. And I was sort of asked nicely to either park Slider or move on.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's keep the Dick alive. And and then I went over and worked with Paul Biller for a couple of years. And then I got approached by a buyer's agent. And then I thought, let's do the transition. I actually enjoyed working with the buyers more.
Yep.
And then I got together with a business, actually a fellow actor. He's a NIDA graduate, Oliver Burton. And then we just got together and said, hey, let's just open up our own shop. He loved Slider. He got it. So it was like, let's sort of go forward. And we launched in 2021 and we've been successful. It's our own little baby. As you know, when it's your own business, you treat it like it's your baby.
Yeah.
And we've been doing good, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mate, tell us a little bit about, obviously, the idea for Slider, because to me, it makes a lot of sense. And I feel like maybe subconsciously or consciously, it was you maybe picking on stuff you didn't like that other real estate agents had, or maybe that, maybe it was who you wish you could have been, I guess, in real life. But where does it come from?
Yeah, good question. I was missing a lot of business to someone like Dick.
Yep.
Going in, telling him, all these big fancy numbers and this energy and this whole persona about him.
Yeah.
And I would just come in, originally from the Gold Coast, a bit of a chilled guy, come in with just, this is what it's worth, here are the comparables. And I'd miss out. And I said, fucking really, man. And then I was just played with this character and a friend of mine at Ray White Double Bay, Richard Faludi, we sort of came up with a bit of I was playing tennis with him and I was sliding for the ball and he's going, look at fucking Slider. And it just went Dick, short Richard, as in the name.
Yeah.
And then,
Short.
And then,
I love that you waited for that to land for me because, I'm slow. That was good. So, mate, it's funny because just the name, Dick Slider, it's funny how, naturally, being, your name and Slider, I think it's just the perfect reference to, Slider being that, slippery and all that sort of stuff. And I totally, I think that's why it lands with so many people because, I'm the same. The amount of business you lose to that guy with the Brill cream and, it's not who you potentially want to be and you hate losing to that particular agent. And I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but it probably gives you that freedom just to be that politically incorrect, just everything that you shouldn't say or think or feel, sliders able to get away with. So does it feel, is that like a nice release for you, or is it kind of tempting? Like, this is,
Well, sometimes it feels like I'm sort of, walking that fine line.
yeah,
Obviously, being a buyer's agent, but I think why it's sort of slider hit home is because I was an agent, and it's like someone being racial, but there they are that nationality talking. About
yeah,
the jokes.
yeah,
But because I've been there and I know, and we've all done those slider things,
yeah,
Like we've all done it,
yeah,
and like I actually go out and I do shop visits where I come in as character and get the team motivated
yeah,
and bit of comedy relief and because we're in a tough industry,
yeah.
so
Tell
and
us
it
a
is
bit tell us
stressful.
a bit
So
about that if you've got one sec. So like, yeah, people can
yeah,
reach out to you on Instagram or whatever, and actually book you to come out and do like a training session with their team as the pseudo. Like, people can book that.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
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 100%. So I come out as Dick Slider and I do a full presentation on how to list, how to sell, how to market yourself like an 8 times world champion.
yeah,
And then at the end we get them to break wood. We put a business goal and a personal goal on the wood, and then I get them to smash the
yeah,
wood like I'm hitting vendors. So it's fun, it's motivational, it's team
yeah.
building. And I've done a lot. I just haven't promoted it, but a word of mouth, it's doing
You
well.
don't
But
mind
I
if,
do need to promote.
I'm certainly not saying it's got the world's biggest audience or anything like that, but you don't mind if people reach out, like owners of businesses, and want to get you in for that sort of thing. You're open to that?
100%.
Yeah, cool. That would be great,
100%.
and we'll have to certainly book you into next time you're down Melbourne way. We'll get you into our office. I guess tell us a bit about, like, obviously, being a buyer's advocate and in your market and that sort of thing. Have you had any? Is it, I'd assume it could only be positive, but what this has done for you from a recognition perspective, or do people just really like that you're obviously a jovial, fun guy, and want to work with you from a professional perspective? Has it helped or hindered with working with agents and with?
I Yeah, I would definitely say helped. When I say that, it's helped because agents, as you said, they like to have a bit of fun and they like people who are sort of light and you know,
Yeah,
get good to get on with. But like even just I guess culling which clients we want to work with.
yeah,
So me and Ollie made a point that we bring it up in the pitch meeting is because if they don't get Dick Slider and it's a parody and it's a bit of fun, they're not our people.
yeah,
And you mean it's a stressful process it is. We can be working with these clients for up to 6 months. Why do we want to work with someone who doesn't understand? That's not me. It's a parody.
yeah,
The agents like it. It's so that in that aspect, it's been great. And just even outside the core areas, sometimes that we people buy they employ us just for like a single acquisition. And because being a buyer's agent, I think it's all about having relationships with the agents. I
yeah,
think that's the main selling point, and I think it's a big part of it. So to say that I know all the agents everywhere else, you can't.
mm,
But Dick Slider has allowed me to, if someone's got a property outside our core area, I can just go have a look if they're following Slider, call them up, and
yeah,
or call the head people in those areas that the number one agents
yeah,
because they are following Slider. I can call them and say, "Hey, Ricky, got a client looking in the area, mate. Don't know much to have you seen this property? Do you know what it's worth?" And
yeah.
and they're happy to help.
It's
Where
so.
if I didn't have Slider, there's no way I would have been able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, like, yeah, it would have to help. I was thinking that, and I'm glad you reiterated that. Um, Tell us a little, and surely going that one step further, I guess, like down here, we've got a local football team, the Geelong Football Club in the AFL. And I guess to get, like, if one of those guys was to sell their house or something like that, real estate agents are essentially pulling down their pants to work for that person because it's that, cool by association type thing or whatever. I would certainly think, like,
Mm.
subconsciously, people not might like to admit it to you, but I would certainly feel like people would want to work with you. And if there's a multiple buyer situation, the agent, I think if they like you, respect you, and enjoy your company, that certainly couldn't hurt your customers in terms of what they have to pay to buy a property.
Yeah, definitely. Like, look, I'm not saying yes. You mean the agent's done the wrong thing by the client, but they've definitely kept us tight in the loop,
Yeah,
exactly knowing what's happening. And yeah, it's been great. Like, yeah,
yeah. Talk
really, really
about
good.
obviously like highlights from yeah, the parody of. I think you spoke at ARIC in 2019, and um,
Yeah.
I guess, what about like viral reach? Have you had something? Obviously, I said I did a deep dive on you. I think it started back in 2017 or whatever, and initially it was like a lot of mobile content and just shooting down the barrel and that sort of thing. But then after a while, it transitioned to some more higher production quality stuff. Tell us a little bit about when it was time to start investing in it and actually paying, because it's hard to tie income back and get that ROI. When was it like, you know what, it's worth spending $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 on a video? When did that start to happen?
Look, we've always wanted to do, a TV show, and my wife is a producer. So it did start just with the handhold phone, and then we just started getting more traction, and then we thought, we've got a big pool of actors around us. We've got DOPs, we've got directors. So we thought, let's just start leaning on that a little bit more and making the production better, because we are in a pitching phase right now where we are pitching to networks.
Wow.
Yeah, like streamers, and like the goal is to have Dick Slider, a big fucking signboard on the road, and Dick Slider. Like,
Yep.
who wouldn't want to see that? Even if you
Yeah.
didn't know, you'd be like intrigued. What
Yeah.
is Dick Slider?
Yeah. Well, that's
So
why I
look,
hope,
that's the
you've certainly got your own customer base, and it's not about us leveraging or whatever, but I just think people who don't know about it need to check it out, because it's what everybody hates, loves and hates about a real estate agent. And you just nailed it. I'm really happy for you. And I'm glad that it's content that's out there, because it's just, you just got to look through your comments feed about how much people enjoy it and how much real estate agents are tagging other agents and that sort of stuff. So,
there's been some nice ones where I've actually had people call me or message me, and they actually found my number, and they've called me and said, Dick, I just want to say thank you. I've just been such in a bad spot in my life.
Yep.
And I just saw one of your videos and I pulled over and I was just in tears laughing, and
Yep.
you've just made my day.
Yep.
Like little things like that. Like, you always question yourself sometimes when you post videos, and being a creative, you always sort of, you doubt yourself.
Yep.
And I just think at the end of the day, I just go, fuck it. I'm just going to post it, because I'm sure one person will have a laugh, and
Yep.
it will make the day,
Yep. Tell us about like any highlights in terms of viral reach or people that you've worked with, like, because obviously I'm a big fan. He's been on the show recently with James Bennett from Bell Property. He was one of your first ones. Him and Baxter, and there's those Western Suburbs guys or whatever, and like, I guess, what's been a highlight in terms of whether it be a person you're acting with, or a viral reach moment?
Oh, look, there's been a few actually, and working with James was great. Slice, and
Whose
we've become
idea? Whose
friends. And
idea was that video?
I can't remember. I think like he was like one of my first like fans.
Yeah.
Like he loved it.
Yeah,
He was like he was one of the originals, the OGs.
Because
When it was just
he's been on the show as well, and he's the same. Like, he really enjoys. You've got you've got a complete and total license now to go bananas, because you're not a real estate agent per se anymore. But
exactly.
he, I think, dances on that line really well about still kind of taking the mickey, and you two, when I saw you two together, I think that's how I come about you, and it's dangerous combo, you two.
Well, it was funny because he we had a script and like a pilot that which I'm not going to post, but we've done like a kind of a pilot, like a trailer for a pilot to send to the streamers. And he was the first guy I approached actually for one of the characters.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Fuck," he goes, "I really want to. I'd love to do it, but just with his business," and
Yeah.
he just thought maybe it's a little bit.
Yeah.
But like he's great. He's a funny guy. He's a great performer.
Yeah.
He could be a great actor as well. But like I guess his business is doing so well, he probably doesn't want to.
Tell us a little bit about how, I guess, because having like opinions of what you think is funny and being able to execute is, because you see a lot of real estate agents, unless you kind of like the boys like the uninspired employed or whatever, but there's very few people, unless you've got like an actor background or whatever, that can pull it off. Because it's fine to have a great idea of what you think is funny, but it's very hard to execute it. Does that make sense? Like, what's funny in your mind isn't necessarily always funny on the screen, but so you've got a background in acting.
Correct. Look,
Yeah.
I started acting in 2010, so I was a bit of a late bloomer.
Yep.
But I was quite heavily into my martial arts. I was doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu at the time,
Yep.
and I actually always wanted to do acting. I went and did one acting class. I thought, wow, this is great. I'm not getting choked and having some man sweat all over me and laying on me. And it was fun. I came home and I think I listened to my wife for the first time that night because it was about listening and reacting.
Yep.
And then I focused on my acting. I went to acting like 3 nights a week, did the classes. And my wife we just had a baby. And I was working full time. So I couldn't go to somewhere like NIDA.
Yep.
So I went and did 3 nights a week of acting. And then, I was doing the real estate and then it was like, fuck, there's a show here.
Yep.
So many characters and, not even talking about the agents. You got vendors, you got sellers, you've got the copywriters, you've got like fucking everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, the photographers.
Tell us about there's a couple of common themes, and I guess it's you taking the Mickey of that persona, but the reference all the time to 2.2% and #1 real estate agent in the world. Like there's just these wanky things that real estate agents hang on to that they think is like everyone's bio, like especially in America, and that's like a top performer, or there's just this massive overinflation of people's ego and they think that the market, wow, how I've got to choose this guy. I guess, is it again just a license for you to rip into that?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to, it's, comedy is about the truth, but just, heightening that side of it and the drama of it. So that's why I went to the 8 times world champion of real estate. Probably the 9th will be soon. I just got to work it out when, either the next few days.
Yeah.
But I will be 9 times world champion of real estate. You know that, baby. And the 2.2 is always, that's like the pinnacle in the East is trying to get 2.2.
Yeah.
So, all the top dogs get the 2.2.
Course,
So it's always, 2.2.
I was having a bit of a scroll through and like I literally spent hours last night. I lost my mind. I went too deep. There was so much fun stuff on there. But some of my other favorites were obviously Matt Leonetti from is he Toronto or he's over that way. That looked like that was a fun video during COVID.
Yeah, that was fun. Again, I think we just found each other and then it was like we just started liking each other's content and then we got chatting behind the scenes. And it's like, let's do a video. And at the time it was COVID and it was quite good.
When you were initially trying to get it going, sorry, I cut you off. Like when you're initially trying to get it going, are you reaching out to these people like asking for a favor as such, or are you paying, or like how does that work?
No, it was just I've never really paid anyone.
Yeah.
You mean unless it's like, no, actually I can't even say I've paid anyone, which makes me feel a bit bad. But if I get an actor to come over, obviously we're going to feed them and we're going to look after them that way, and they're going to have a nice bit of footage. And if when the slider gets picked up, with all my acting friends who have helped us out on the way, there will be roles that they will audition for. And so there's opportunity. But another one who reached out, which was a really good feeling, was Matt O'Kine.
Yep.
The comedian.
Yeah.
Matt O'Kine's is a big name in Australia. And he actually reached out and said, mate, love what you're doing. Do you want to collab?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
How good's that?
So so we did one together, which was a load of fun. Great guy.
Who was the girl that you had she was the recruiter and you were after a hot PA with 6-inch heels? 6-inch heels.
Oh yeah.
She was hilarious too. You had obviously Emmy on there.
Yes, Emmy. Yes, Emmy's been great. In the back.
She's a very big supporter of you. We had her on the show just recently, and she couldn't help but sing your praises.
She actually helped with my last post with the dictionary. I called her and she ended up like putting it together on Canva, and she's awesome. So
she's a great
we're
girl.
always sort of scratching each other's backs.
One of my other favorite ones was Damien Cooley as well. Like huge fans of Damien Cooley and what he's doing. That was an absolute pisser video.
Fuck, he nailed it. You mean like on that auction, he absolutely nailed it. Like it was like a full auction. I was like, I feel like I'm in an auction. And so he's been great. He actually when we first started Lumen, he allowed us to work out of his office. You know what I mean? Because Oliver Burton, who's my business partner, is actually an auctioneer still.
Yep.
Still calls a couple of things for Damien, and
Yep.
you know, Damien was fantastic, allowing us to work out of there.
Yep.
But there's a lot of people to thank. You mean like for where Slider is, and we're only just at the base camp. Like, you know, as I said, you mean we want a show on
Yep.
either Netflix, Stan, or those streamers.
Yeah.
But you mean my wife? I've got a wife who's, you know, behind me 100%, and she's got a producing background.
I
And,
saw you
and she
recently
does
had like a 10 or 15-year anniversary.
Yeah. Is it 30? No, it feels like no. It was actually 17. I think. It feels like 30,
yeah,
right?
it makes a
Nah,
difference, isn't it? Having someone in your corner that, that enjoys what you do. And I guess it must be weird kind of acting in front of her, because like sometimes you're like, you know, you're doing cocaine and like hitting on hot women and stuff, and get like your wife's standing right there. So she's obviously a bit of a character too, and she enjoys it.
Yeah. Well, she acts every time we have sex, you know, like pretending she's enjoying it. Joking.
I love that. So, mate, tell me, have you got any other big ones in the can coming up that you're looking forward to putting out?
Again, there's some ones I really want to do. It's just about finding the time, and you now we're at that phase where we want to have the better production, because we are, you know, now there are probably more eyes on us.
Yeah.
So it's just about having the time and doing that. But I mean, I'll always just keep trying to post little skits here and there, just to sort of keep people sort of amused.
Who's coming up with the majority of that content?
Myself.
Yep.
The bigger stuff, and then like there's little stuff where I'll call, as in there's a mate, Richard Faludi, who's, you know, I mean, helped with the process of Slider as well, where I'll call him up and we'll just start doing some banter.
Yeah.
So he's a good guy to actually reach out to. Richard Faludi.
Yeah,
he's
cool.
at Rain and Horn, a good agent, good young agent.
Yep.
We have a lot of banter. We'll just call up to start talking in Slider, and he starts speaking in a silly American accent as well, and we'll come up with some funny shit.
Yeah, mate.
But I've actually had agents actually call me and just say, "Hey, mate, this was so funny. What happened?" And I've just done a skit on it. You know, like it's So if anyone has got any good ideas, you know, I'm happy for them to message them through.
Absolutely. Tell us about like what are some of your favorite videos?
I think the auction was probably one of the better ones.
Yep.
I just think, yeah, man, the cast was good. It was shot nicely, edited nicely. You know, Damien Cooley, you know, bringing his thing to it as well. Like I think that's probably one of my highlights. I think that was one of my better ones.
I think it's really it's a good story of like obviously going back to Jimbo Slice, and how just being a character can give you exponential growth. Like, you just got to look at what Lux Listing Sydney's done for all those operators that are on that show. You know, and I know Tammy, his wife's enjoyed a lot of success from the show, but I think it always comes back to that production quality, and that's where you've really, you know, although you do still do the odd piece to camera, like on the mobile, to keep top of mind and keep the content and the juices flowing and stuff like that. But what's obvious now is the quality of what you guys are producing. It's
look, it's funny because I've had some people say like they like the OG Slider, you know, like he was a bit harder, you know, just to the camera.
Yeah.
But like I've had to, you know, a little bit more of a heart, you know, make him a little bit more vulnerable, and you know, he can't always be winning.
I think one of my favorite ones is I forget what it was actually for, but it was one of your main ones, and it was of you like running on the beach in the morning, and then you stop and pull this huge banana out of your jocks, and like you know, it's just it's very similar to James's sense of humor, where it's very like, you know, you take the mickey on yourself, and although I guess it is about agents in the real world, but you've just absolutely nailed it. So, mate, I want to say thanks so much for coming on the show. We could pick your brain, but we'd really love for people to reach out and obviously follow you on socials and support what you're doing. And for any of those businesses that do want to book an office catch up, what's the best way? Just on Instagram or?
Yeah, just Instagram. A lot of the businesses come through people just messaging on Instagram, just saying, "Hey, Dick, how much to come out and you know, pump the team up."
Yep.
So it's so that's the best way.
Awesome, mate. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Rich, Dick, whatever. Thank you so much, mate. You're an absolute star. We'll love watching your content and we'll continue to support you. And again, thank you. I think this is just that whole reciprocity thing. There's nothing in it for you for coming on the show. So we're super appreciative of your time. I know you're a busy boy. Don't
Pleasure.
forget me when you hit the top.
What's that?
Don't forget me when you hit the top. If you're not already there.
No, mate.
Cheers. Thanks so much, Rich.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.